a shift happening in employer mindsets in the region. Historically, a lot of business owners have been leaning towards a reliance on overseas hiring, have also been only willing to hire experienced job seekers. But now the employment industry is becoming more and more competitive. As a result, our younger candidates are now much better rounded, much better prepared for that first job opportunity. So we are seeing a shift in the interest towards youth employment, because there's a number of benefits that they carry when entering the workplace. Namely, a young candidate entering the workplace does not come with any bad habits or any preconceived notions of how and the style of work that they should be doing. So it gives employers an opportunity to train them and mold them to their own liking, so that you can make fresh candidates absorb your company culture and work the way you would like them to work. As well as that, there's a massive CSR objective here, where companies based in the UAE should be looking internally towards our own talent pool. If the UAE is going to establish itself as a world leader, then we do need to focus on the employment rates of those graduates exiting our employment system. So there's a number of ways that this ties in, and as I mentioned, we are now seeing a noticeable change in employer mindsets and a new openness as they start to realize that we have this totally untapped talent pool here in the UAE and we need to make use of them. Right, so in many cases, these candidates who are studying here and graduating from the local education system have been born or raised in the UAE. They love the country as if it were their own. I'm actually one of these people. I'm not an Emirati national, but if you ask me where home is, I will tell you Dubai, UAE. So it's a total shame if we invest in the education system here and then don't put that to use in real employment opportunities. So when an employer decides to hire a student for an internship or a graduate for an entry-level job, they are in fact supporting the youth of the nation, the people who are passionate about the UAE, who are going to put the work and effort in as if this is their own country. They're not the type that arrived fresh off a plane yesterday and are here for the quick buck. They're here to create those sustainable long-term changes to the country, and employers should be doing their part to be open to accepting those kind of candidates in their organization. We do have experience, and we've actually got formal partnerships in place with over 40 universities now. So we actually have over 80 different nationalities registered on our portal, which of course includes Emiratis. But we are seeing a massive demand from employers to fulfill this need as well. However, there are challenges for the private sector, whether you're the small companies, the medium, or a multinational. All private sector companies do face a challenge in identifying the candidates and then integrating them into the workplace and then retaining them. We are positioning ourselves to provide a solution in the first step, which is the identifying and the meeting of the candidates. So in the next 6 to 12 months, we are most likely going to be launching a customized portal which speaks directly to Emiratis, young Emiratis who want to enter the private sector, but need that extra little bit of, or rather need a dedicated platform which is for them, not the sort of big mainstream job sites and recruitment agencies, because they're not speaking the right language. They're not really tapping into the needs of this young national talent. And that's what we will try to do. And we already have established need from a number of companies. So as and when we flick the switch, we'll hopefully be able to start fulfilling that need on both sides. Absolutely. So the first step in a candidate registration on InternsME.com is that they go through a pre-screening process. No one registers on our site without someone from my team doing the pre-screening assessment. What that means is that we speak to each and every individual candidate for at least 10 to 15 minutes. We get to understand, who is this person? Firstly, are they actually a student or graduate? Because if they are a more experienced job seeker in maybe a desperate situation or wanting to experiment, we say, we're sorry, but you're not actually part of our demographic allowed onto our portal. So we first verify that they are a student or graduate. We then spend time getting to know them. We assess their communication skills, their personality. What are they looking for? Are they serious about a career? Or do they tell us on the phone that, no, we're just kind of experimenting and we just wanted to see what's happening? So we start to profile our candidates. We start to understand each and every individual so we can later matchmake them to a much better degree, which of course is beneficial to the candidate and to the employer. So those matches can be made and we can guarantee a higher success rate. From there on, our portal is uniquely customized for this demographic. So for example, when an employer posts a job, they have the option to specify, is this an internship, a traineeship, or a full-time job? What are the working hours? What is the compensation? What is the long-term career prospects? Employers are actively encouraged to answer the question of why we're a good place to start your career at. So all of those things tie into greater levels of transparency on both sides again, the candidates and the employers, so that when candidates apply for these jobs with employers, they have a much better idea of what they're getting themselves into. We don't have anonymous companies with vague details. We get the details down and written so that the candidates know what they're applying for, there are no surprises, and they also subscribe to our terms and conditions, which stipulate that they should honor employment contracts, barring a few exceptions. And again, this does increase the success rate and remove some of those unfortunate scenarios you mentioned where maybe someone doesn't turn up to work, for example. It's very unlikely in our experience, considering the systems we've put into place.